Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. Hey there, friends. Let me tell you, I've been walking around with a grin on my face all day because of some wonderful news from General Hospital. Steve Burton just came right out and confirmed that Jason Morgan is heading back to Port Charles, and from what he's saying, we should see him on our screens sometime in July or the very start of August. After all these months of missing that strong, silent guy riding his motorcycle through town and quietly fixing everyone's problems, my heart feels like it's finally getting a little lighter. I've been a fan of this show longer than some of you have been married, and Jason has always been one of those characters who makes the whole story feel real and worth watching. You remember how it all went down at the end of March, right? Jason was trying to slip out of town safe and sound with Britt Westbourne by his side. Things turned ugly fast when that double-dealing Ross Cullum showed up, swinging an iron pipe like he meant business. Little Rocco Falconeri, bless that boy's brave little heart, was hiding just around the corner. In a split second, he grabbed the gun and shot Cullum in the back to save Jason's life. Without even pausing to think, Jason stepped forward and took every bit of the blame himself. He looked those agents straight in the eye and said it was all him, not the kid. That's Jason Morgan through and through, always protecting the people he cares about, even if it means throwing himself under the bus. Because of that selfless move, the WSB hauled him off to Jakarta, Indonesia, and locked him up tight while they figure out what to do with him. It was a tough spot, no doubt about it, and it left a big empty space on the show for a while. Steve had told us back in February on his Instagram that he needed a short break from filming. He called it nothing more than a quick vacation, and I respected him for being so upfront with the fans. Still, those weeks without Jason felt different. Port Charles just didn't sparkle the same way. No more late night talks with Sonny, no quiet moments checking on Carly, and no watching him keep an eye on his kids from a distance like the protective dad he is. I'd sit in my favorite chair every afternoon, cup of coffee in hand, and think, when is that man coming home? It got me reflecting on all the years I've followed his story through the shootings, the kidnappings, the heartbreaking losses, and those rare, quiet times when he actually smiled. Jason has always been the rock in the middle of the storm, the guy who never asks for thanks but earns every bit of loyalty from the people around him. That's why I nearly jumped out of my chair when I caught Steve on his podcast with Bradford Anderson. They call the show That's Awesome. And those two have been buddies on and off the set for years. You can tell they're having a genuine good time, just shooting the breeze. Steve mentioned that fans keep flooding him with the same questions. Are you coming back? When exactly are you coming back? He looked right into the camera, smiled that familiar half smile of his, and gave us the answer we'd all been waiting for. He's starting to film again in June. Just like that. Bradford was grinning ear to ear, nodding along like he already knew the secret. I sat there laughing to myself, thinking how nice it is to hear real friends talking about the show we all love. It felt personal, like they were sitting in my living room telling me the good news over a cold drink. Now, if Steve starts shooting those scenes in June, we should see Jason walking the streets of Port Charles again around July or maybe the first couple weeks of August. That's how these daytime dramas work. They stay a few weeks ahead so everything looks smooth on air. And I've been letting my mind wander about how the writers are going to bring him back. Escaping the WSB's grip in Jakarta won't be simple. Most people would say it's nearly impossible, like trying to walk out of a steel trap with nothing but your wits. But if there's one man in that whole town who can beat the odds, survive the impossible, and come out even stronger, it's Jason Morgan. I can already picture it. Maybe a tense nighttime escape, a surprise ally showing up at just the right moment, or one of those classic Jason moves where he outsmarts everyone without saying more than a few words. Whatever they come up with, it's going to be big, loud, and full of those heart-pounding moments that make you lean forward on the couch. When he finally rolls back into town, I bet the whole place will light up. Sonny will need him more than ever with all the trouble that's been brewing. Carly will probably give him one of those long, teary hugs that say everything words can't. His kids, especially the ones who've grown up so fast while he's been gone, will get their dad back, even if it's complicated. And let's not forget all the old rivalries and buried secrets waiting to bubble up again. This return isn't going to be quiet. It's going to shake things up, bring back old feelings, and remind us why we've stuck with this show through thick and thin. The writers on General Hospital have a real talent for weaving these stories that feel like life itself, messy, surprising, and sometimes downright beautiful in the way they show second chances. You know, sitting here thinking about it all, Jason's journey feels a lot like what a lot of us go through in our own lives. We take the fall for the people we love. We protect the young ones even when it hurts. We walk through hard times alone, wondering if we'll ever make it back to where we belong. But good people, true-hearted people, they find their way home. That's what keeps me coming back to General Hospital day after day. It's more than just a soap opera on the TV. It's like a long-running letter from old friends, teaching us about loyalty, forgiveness, and never giving up, no matter how dark the road gets. In this crazy world we live in, those lessons mean more than ever. So I'm marking my calendar with a big red circle around June, friends. Steve Burton is heading back to the set, and by midsummer, Jason Morgan will be right where he belongs, right in the middle of all the drama and love that makes Port Charles feel like home. I'll be right here in my chair every afternoon, coffee getting cold because I'm too busy watching, probably talking back to the screen like I always do. If you've been watching this show as long as I have, especially you wonderful ladies who followed every twist and turn for decades, I know your hearts are beating a little faster too. There's something special about welcoming an old friend back after he's been gone too long. This week's spoilers show things are moving in Port Charles. Elizabeth is getting some new information about Jason, and I wonder how it'll affect her. She's always had a soft spot for him. At the same time, young Danny Morgan is becoming more angry and resentful. Losing his mom Sam was hard enough, and now his dad is locked up far away in Jakarta. It's tough watching that boy struggle. Sonny and Alexis are also starting to worry a lot about Jason. When those two get concerned, something big could be coming. I'm hoping for a surprise twist that brings some hope before Jason returns. Jason taking the blame to protect little Rocco was just like him, always putting family first, even when it hurts his own. But it's left his son hurting and his friends missing him badly. I've been watching this show for years, and I truly believe Jason will come home stronger than ever. First off, it seems Elizabeth Weber is about to get some fresh information about Jason. You know, Liz, she's been through just about everything in Port Charles, and she's always had a soft spot for Jason. I can't help but wonder what this new piece of news is going to mean for her. Will it bring her some peace or stir up old feelings? That woman has carried more than her share of heartache, and any word about Jason is bound to hit her right in the heart. But what really tugs at my old heartstrings is young Danny Morgan. That boy is growing more angry and resentful by the day. First he lost his mama, Sam McCall, gone too soon and so suddenly. Then his daddy, Jason, gets taken away too, locked up halfway around the world in Jakarta by the WSB. Poor kid is carrying a heavy load for someone his age. I've watched him grow up on this show, and seeing him turn bitter just breaks my heart. He's acting out, pulling away, and who can blame him? Kids need their folks, especially when life's been knocking them around like that. Jason stepping up to protect little Rocco cost him dearly, and now his own son is paying the price in loneliness and confusion. It makes you think about how one selfless choice can ripple out and touch so many lives. General Hospital keeps proving that even after the toughest chapters, there's always room for a fresh start and a happy return. And honestly, that's the kind of hope we all need these days. I can hardly wait to see what happens next. Jason's coming home, and I'm counting down the days with a big old smile on my face. You take care now, and I'll see you on the other side of the screen.